All right. What's up, guys? How's it going? Welcome back to the battlefield. It looks like France is in a pickle again. They're taking on a coalition of forces. So it's three armies of France, and then we have Great Britain here, and we have Russia in the center, and then finally, we got France, which is it's a little weird. It's a little weird. You know, I know there's not a lot of factions you can pick from in Napoleon, but I'm not a huge fan of seeing the same faction fight the same faction. But I guess we could say this is like a French loyalist army. French loyalists. They are loyal to the king, and they don't like this new revolution. But yeah, so I guess that's the mindset going into it. If you ever get confused on who's who, just think this is red France and this is blue France, based on the mini map. Blue, red. Just look at the mini map if you're like, who's killing who right now? I don't know. French v French. All right, so let's go to normal speed here, where it looks like things are popping off. So we've got the Voltigeurs opening fire on the Russian Jaegers. We also have some light infantry. So this is this replay that was sent to me was actually, whoever sent it in, I assume speaks German and has this game in German. So Russia, if you look closely, it says Russland. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. I was really surprised by what the Germans call France. Is it Frankreich? Something like that, like French Kingdom or something. Pretty funny. I don't know. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So yeah, they're opening fire. It's just starting off typically. These are how these Napoleon battles kind of go off. They kind of start off with a nice little light skirmish. And there's no artillery, which is disappointing. I'm not a fan. Here's some more skirmishing. We got the British rifles here, taking on the Voltigeurs. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the lack of artillery. I know that's like a thing in Napoleon where they say no artillery. And I get why, because it has unlimited ammo, and oftentimes players will be very defensive with it, and they'll just sit back and shoot at you with a cannon. Which is, I don't know why they made it like that. I don't know why they made the mechanics for artillery to be unlimited ammo. That just makes no sense. It would have been so much better to have limited ammo, because you would have to be much more strategic about how you use your artillery. You would save it, you'd hold it, you'd use it, you'd have to be more strategic. So, I get it. I understand why players don't like to play with artillery, but at the same time, artillery is so crucial for this time period. It's not like medieval artillery. Oh, here we go. Cav moving forward. We've got some mounted rifles. Didn't really turn out too well. Yeah, you usually don't want to send up rifles head on, because what's going to happen is these mounted rifles stop and shoot, and that gives opportunity for the infantry to open fire on the cav, on the horses. But yeah, nothing too crazy so far. This is getting pretty intense over here. This is the closest where the two armies, or the two sides, are meeting. The Russians got uber aggressive, and now we have the Polish Legion, the Swiss Foot, just kind of opening fire and doing some damage to the Moscow Musketeers. Cool unit, very cool unit. But they're gonna reform up, which is smart of them. They're going to group back up and organize their lines and not be so bold. Cav charge. Oof. Big oof right there. Yeah, so Russia, once again, going with the frontal cav charge, which is not always a bad idea to charge a frontal cav charge, but you kind of have to have... So, for example, if we could rewind, what would have been better is if the Russian infantry had the French infantry pinned down. They were keeping them busy. The fact that really it's just a skirmish right now, and then you charge in cav, Well, this might actually be good here. Hold on. See, this is example. This is how you do a frontal cav charge right here. Frontal cav charge. You see this? See how they're not dead? This is great. A great example. Nice little charge here into the Russian Jaegers. Good counter charge. Good counter charge by the mounted rifles. That's to be expected. So, noticed how the French skirmishers, we got the chasseurs and the voltigeurs. Notice how they were keeping them busy, right? And then the cav charged in and was able to do a considerable amount of damage against the Russian Jaegers because the Jaegers were pushed up. They didn't have infantry nearby to protect them. Thankfully, the Russians sent in their cav, but they're kind of going a little crazy with the cav countercharge. Now they're dead. But the French need to get out of there. Retreat. Fall back. And over here we have the Loyalist fighting the Imperial French. Dragoons going in for a frontal charge. It's not going to end well. Again, another situation. They might actually meet the enemy. Yeah, the Polish... I don't think the Polish would be fighting for Imperial France, for sure. Considering that Napoleon... Napoleon... Napoleon. I mean, that's how you gotta say it, right? It's just cooler that way. Considering Napoleon liberated the Polish, right? From Russia, if I'm not mistaken, or... Anyways, it was like a mutual gain kind of situation. So I don't think the Polish would be on the side of the Loyalists. But, you know, who knows? Maybe they're Loyalist Polish. I don't know. I don't know. And this is a Loyalist cav here. I don't know. Lancers. We have Lancers. Yeah, so if you don't know, I've been working on my French. It's been about a month and a half, maybe. Really, I've taken it super seriously the last half month. So if you don't know, I created a Discord for people wanting to learn French and people who speak French to kind of learn and teach each other. It's been really cool because we've been playing games and mostly speaking French. And for example, we've been playing Minecraft. And I've been learning new phrases and stuff, which has been really cool. Anyways, let's get into the battle here, where the cav went for a charge. It looks like the French have pushed up against the Loyalist. They're getting their infantry stuck in. The Loyalists went for a cav charge, but of course, a nice move by the Fusiliers of Line to protect their flank. But yeah, they're just killing each other right now. This is intense. I mean, very, very, very passionate as they hate each other. Fellow countrymen killing each other. Tragic, sad. The Russians look like they're a little confused. They're like, yeah, let's go ahead. Never mind. Yeah, let's move it. Never mind. We're gonna fall back. Just kidding. You know. Over here. Oh, big Anglo charge. Yeah, the Anglos are on the march. On the march. Yeah, the British are moving in with some dragoons, and they're taking on the British chasseurs à cheval. The hunters on cav, on horses. I assume that's what it translates to. Which I kind of knew that before I started learning French, but cheval. Chasseur à cheval. Anyways. Yeah. Okay. I've been learning like I would say the same sentence over and over in French. So to try to sound as authentic as possible, but it's hard. It's hard to pick up that French accent, you know, to pronounce French correctly. It's very tough for an English speaker. Anyways, yeah, the Swiss foot holding their own in the center here with all these trees. French cav, French cav in the mix. The British opening fire, trying to kill the cav here. Is the Cav going in? Is this a Frenchman? Oh yeah, he's leading the way. Oh no, that's a Russian. That's a Russian. But yeah, they're going in right now with the Cav, which is odd that the British didn't really establish a square before they charged in. It looked like they had enough time, but the Russians nearby, they're like, what are you doing, British? Form a square like this. Ooh, good volley into the French Cav, and they are they're gonna break, which no surprise there. And so we go back over here. It looks like the Loyalists have kind of taken a step back. They don't like how the battle's going, and that's the natural transition or step that you want to do when you're losing a battle. Kind of fall back a little bit, because you want to do that because it could lead to a victory, but most importantly, it delays your opponent's victory. So, for example, if this army was stubborn and just kept holding their ground, they would have been destroyed faster, and then the French over here would have been able to go over and help the other French allies against the Russians. Nice little cav charge, but the Swiss are able to form square and stop the cav charge. Swiss foot going in. Russian Jaeger going in as well. So I assume they ran out of ammo. It's kind of weird to see Russian Jaegers charging in. Now we have a counter charge, which seems a little excessive against those Jaegers. And over here, the British are dominating right now. The French completely just out of answers. They don't know what to do. So they're kind of falling back, and I think what they're going to do is do the same thing, kind of the opposite of what the Loyalists are doing here, where they're just kind of backing up, trying to buy time. The Loyalists are kind of turning this around, though, a little bit. It's the old guard. The old guard fighting for the Loyalists. Yep, so, yeah, the old guard here. He's got his Polish Legion. He's got Fusiliers. The infantry... The brave infantry here. Infantry of the line. The brave. Oh, is he going for a charge? Oh, the old guard! Even the Loyalists know to send in the old guard. There they go. They're going to go in and not do well. Well, I mean, they're kind of going in there a little bit. They might get a little bit of damage done. Now we got a bunch of cav charging in. This is like the last push for the Loyalists. The last little push here. And then on this side, we have the opposite of what's going on. We have the French kind of falling back and trying to delay time. And this is pretty big. I don't know what the Loyalists are kind of thinking here. I don't think they're gonna win. It's hard to tell what's going on because everyone's French. You know, everyone is French, and it's hard to tell who is killing who. But this is what they wanted. And then we've got the Fusiliers of the line kind of flanking over here and putting pressure. And that's exactly what these French want to do here. They want to surround and kill, and this army is on its last leg. This is not an Imperial cav unit. This is the French, the normal French. They're going in for a charge. Very cool. So a good charge right there, and this French is toast. The Loyalists are done, which is good because it's going to be less confusing, right? Okay, good. I was like, if they have Napoleon as their general, this is just a total craziness. But they just have the general staff who's making his desperate last stand. But this is the end for the Loyalists, and now the French can focus concentrated power against the Russians. The Russians. Oh, general dead. Yep. Useless. Wait. Useless? Whose general is this? Wow. They lost their general, huh? Ah, so the Loyalists got a little bit of a victory there by killing the general of the French on this right side. Okay, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. The French still have a lot of numbers that they can use to curl around, and oh wow, the Russian general is now gone. Russia is hanging on by a thread. I mean, and I'm being serious here. They are literally, look at this line. This looks like a tiny thread. This is what they're hanging on with. The French are not even gonna slow down. They're going straight for the kill. You have the Empress Dragoons. Such a cool unit. Look at these guys. The Empress Dragoons. What a cool unit to be a part of. If you were part of the Empress Dragoons, you know you had to feel like a total Chad. But yeah, anyways, they're falling back. The British are in the hot seat, so to speak. They are, or so to speak. They are. It's up to them. It's up to them to turn this battle around, because the French Loyalists are gone. The Russians are hanging on by a thread, and it's all gonna come down to the Redcoats, the Lobsters. Can they win it? Do they have enough to win it? Balance of Power says, yeah, maybe they could win it. It's definitely not impossible, but they definitely need to pull off some Houdini tricks here. They need to pull off a miracle to win. Not exactly a miracle, but they need to pull off some good plays. We're not in miracle stage here yet. You know, they don't necessarily need a miracle. Like it's not that bad, if you know what I mean. But they certainly need some luck. They need some luck for sure. All right, so yeah, the French, hey, they did what they needed to do. They fell back and they just kept the British busy. Well, look at this massive wave of forces are pushing the Russian lines, and the Russians know what's going on, and they're going to reform with the British and kind of make a defensive line against this massive French force. Look at them. They're like, you know, they're going in. They're like, oui, oui, baguette, ho, ho, ho. Oh, ho, ho. Yeah. After they shoot the Russian, they go, enchanté, enchanté, nice to meet you. Fusiliers of the line going for a charge. I'm not sure what he's kind of doing here. This seems like a suicide charge. And sure enough, the men realize that, and they disobey their orders, and they're gonna fall back because they're like, "What? Like, why are we charging in? Like, who gave this order for only us to charge in? Why?" But yeah, the French now move up the rest of the line. I guess they kind of used them as like a meat shield, I assume. That's not a bad idea. I mean, use the small unit. Maybe this line will fire most of their shots, and while they're reloading, you move up the main line. Oh yeah, the French got them right where they want them. Mm-hmm. Typical French move, right? Just kidding, just kidding. All right, so yeah, they're reforming their lines, and they've got more troops moving up, getting ready to push the center. But I'm looking at their armies right now, and I'm thinking, you know, what can Russia and the British do to win this one? And really, what it comes down to is cav. Do they have any cav? No, they do not have any cav. So the French have cav. The French have cav, which is a problem. If anything, that makes this even more challenging. So whenever you're in these dire situations, where you're heavily outnumbered by infantry, cav can save the day. You know, if the British or Russians had cav that could flank around and do heavy amounts of damage, you have a chance of winning this one. But this is not good. Not good. He does form square right at the end there. The cav should fall back. That's the other thing. The French, even though they have a huge advantage, they want to make sure they don't send their cav to their deaths. Is that the only cav, though? Where's the other cav? Oh, he went for the general. But lost. General staff, they're like, not today, frog. You know, or whatever. That was awful. That was an awful British accent. I've done better. Anyways. We got more French cav. Cuirassier. They're going in. Going after the rifles. Good move there. Rifles a vulnerable unit to cav charges. And now the French have sliced through the Russian line. And as I continue to watch this, I just think, yeah, there's no way. There is no way that the British and allies, the Russians and the British can turn this around. I mean, they've got hope of doing something here. I mean, I don't know what the French are doing right now. Like, what is this? I mean, he's not doing a terrible job, but like the British definitely have a chance of like getting aggressive here and beating this flank, which I think the British have to get aggressive. I think that's a big mistake. That's the other thing. If you're outnumbered, be aggressive. Like, it depends on, okay, it depends. Okay, let's be real here. It depends on the situation. But I think that if he got uber aggressive, very aggressive with his line infantry, he could have like wrapped around this French force. I mean, especially right, these guys are weak. Take them out really quick. Let this side keep them busy. It's kind of too late now because this side of the British army is non-existent. Fusiliers of the line going for a charge, trying to wrap this battle up. Trying to wrap it up. And the French are falling back here again. He knows what he's doing. He's keeping the British busy while this flank just cleans up the room. Fusiliers of the line just doing what they do best. Now we've got the foot holding the line. But they're not going to hold much longer because we have angry Frenchmen. That's the other thing I learned. That's the fun thing about learning French from French people is, of course, you ask about all the bad words. All the bad words in French. Of course, I won't be saying them here, but that's the fun thing. You just gotta have. I think that's the key about learning a language. You just have to have fun. You know, like if you enjoy the process, you're gonna learn it. And you know, there's definitely ways you can learn a language where like. Look, and I don't want to act like I'm an expert because I barely know French. All right, I'm not gonna act like I'm some success story. Like, yeah, I'm fluent now. You know, but I've definitely, from my experience learning languages, I've learned more French than any other language, and it's because I've been having fun with it. And I think that's the key. But yeah, so that's pretty much the battle, guys. It was pretty well, I wouldn't say it was completely one-sided, but really what happened is that the Loyalists kind of dropped the ball here. Once they kind of fell, the Russians weren't exactly doing better. They were doing a little bit better to where they had an army, but the French were able to flank around, get the Russians. The Russians had to fall back, and the British did a good job here. They did good against their opponent. I think if the British wanted to win this battle, what's going on here? I guess he didn't realize these units broke and they've come back. But I think if the British wanted to turn this battle around, sometimes when you're playing a battle like this and you look all the way over on the other side and you see your teammates are getting beat, it's like, okay, well, I've got to quickly defeat the opponent in front of me. And that's when you need to start to, like, you need to be more aggressive. You need to be more aggressive and try to beat the opponent in front of you so it frees up more men for you to help your allies. I think if the British were a bit more aggressive, and they, you know, really tried to destroy this French army in front of them, they would have been able to help their allies. What's going on here? So we're just gonna fast forward because we're watching. Even the British are like, come on, whatever, just kill my troops. There we go. There we go. Victory, victory. Okay. So who was this sent in by? I think it was sent in by Useless. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. He got a lot of kills. Whew. Useless was certainly not useless. Getting 1,700 kills. And then we have yeah, 1,400 kills. And then Rap here getting 669 kills, giggity. And then we have the Loyalist, 792. Russia, Alligator Tutor, getting 1,100 kills. And then the Admiral getting a lot of kills. Look how good the British did. It just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Really, these two players kind of carried the French here, which I assume this was the guy against the Loyalists and this was the guy against the Russians. But there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun, and I do appreciate your support, and I will see you next time on the battlefield.